it's another tragic event in San Bernardino. If you've been keeping up on the news, you've seen this massacre out there in San Bernardino. I believe the latest report was 14 killed, with the 3 gunmen. 2 of the gunmen were killed, and the stories are coming out fast and furious with the background and what was behind that. It's just another reminder to stay vigilant, stay alert, and be careful of your surroundings, and listen to our force protection. Sign up advisories, sign up for ad hoc in our wide area alert notification system, and make sure you're talking to your chain of command about where you're traveling, whether it's Ireland, Sorrento, or Finland, or some other place. Make sure someone in your chain of command knows where you're going and knows how to get in contact with you, so we can run these accountability drills. We saw some disturbances in Germany yesterday that came out on ad hoc from the region, and we're in this environment where these things are happening, and I don't know when it's going to end out there, but we need to do the things to make sure that we stay aware, stay vigilant, stay informed, and we're reaching back to our chains of command so we can maintain accountability and get you the best information that we have about what's going on around you if you happen to be out there traveling in a bad situation. We're flying the flags at half staff this morning until the 7th to recognize the tragedy in San Bernardino. So you should see the flags out there this morning at half staff.
The ways that you can communicate to us, the command, the support providers, is through ICE. So ICE, we talk about it at area orientation. If you're unfamiliar with it, you can get to it from our CNIC website. CNIC.Navy.mil/Naples is the base website, and there's a link to ICE there. Or you can just visit ice.disa.mil, ice.disa.mil. ICE stands for Interactive Customer Evaluation, and that's really just feedback, right? It's just, and there are categories for every department, almost every department. There are some that do not have a method to
DECA.
use ICE. For example, the commissary. DECA organization has another method, and it's not through ICE. But most of our service providers, the housing office, HR, you name it, security, they all have a link to ICE. And the CO, myself, the CMC, and every department head or department leader reads those ICE comments that you send out each week or each day. So we've been getting a lot recently. I just mentioned the internet one, but also some other examples are household goods, personal property. Tell us about your move, goods and bads, housing office. Tell us about your experience, inbound and outbound, PSD, post office, HR. And again, if they don't belong to NSA proper, we will forward those emails along to the correct person. And those folks typically get those comments and respond back to. Our goal is to respond back to everyone that wants a response. Some folks leave an anonymous comment, and that's great too. It's still feedback that our service providers can act upon and use to improve their services. But we encourage you to leave your name and contact number. That way we can get more information based on your comment. We can talk to you and reach back, and sometimes apologize if it's necessary, sometimes clarify things if we can't fix a problem, or sometimes just thank you for giving us that feedback, because it does help. A lot of times there'll be services that are scrutinized with funding or with just use. And when folks leave a comment about how much they appreciated a service, then we may continue that service. So it is important to provide all sorts of feedback, and ICE is really the primary method of doing so. And also just like to put out, you can also go right to the the supervisors or the managers at those locations, direct feedback or emails, or feel free to contact the PAO. And if you want another method, the PAO is 626-5907, and you can do it that way as well. There's a list of phone numbers in the back of the Benvenuti. If you don't know what the Benvenuti is, everyone should have gotten it in the Welcome Aboard package. If your commands send those out. And in the back of that, there's a phone listing that has all those phone numbers, frequently used phone numbers for our service providers. So that's just one other method as well. But continue to use ICE. It's very valuable to us, and we appreciate your feedback.
Hey, so I wanted to jump in a little bit on that. You make some great points, and points that I bring up in area orientation in the town halls about ICE. We love ICE. ICE is great. You know, it's a communication system. So one of the hardest things that we do on the base is communicate, and you know, we have a lot of different ways of communicating. Whether it's this radio show, thank you for listening. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's the panorama, whether it's the town halls. Going out, just walking around the Navy Exchange, we'll talk to people, or on the spine at Capo, or at lunch, or whatever the case is. And ICE ends up being a way of communicating, really not from me to you, or from the XO to you, but from you to us. And so we talk about getting this two-way communication sometimes. Sometimes the conversation can be a little disjointed, something we'll talk about on the radio or in the town hall. We won't get that direct two-way communication going, but ICE can be that second way of communication. We talk about two-way communication. The one way is me, you know, or XO, whoever, CMC, talking about things, and then the other, what gets to the two-way communication, is getting that feedback and having the other part of the conversation come in, because we'll put things out there, but we really need to know how it resonates, how it affects people, and what is the perspective of the community on certain things either we're doing or not doing. And that's important. So ICE represents that two in the two-way communications, and then if you get into what further from there is a dialogue, and a dialogue is ongoing two-way communications, right? So that's why it's important about the contact info. So it's good. So we get one-way communication, we'll get two-way communication with the feedback coming in through ICE, and then we can get a dialogue if you throw that contact information in there. And that's really important to us. We probably, I don't know, what do you think? 60-70% of the ICE comments come in with no contact information. Something
Probably
like that.
number.
Someone will throw
Yes,
a
sir.
comment out there, and we still take it on board whether you have the contact information or not. But it is a lot more powerful if you put the contact information in there. It doesn't matter. I mean, look, we don't. It doesn't matter what the comment is, how good, how bad, or whatever the comment happens to be. But put the contact information in. We will get back to you and kind of find out what's going on with your particular situation, or if it's a positive ICE, which we get quite a few of those as well, and we'll find out some details about what was about the experience made it a positive, and try and foster those things as well. Customer service is always the goal, but the contact information is important. XO talks about getting back if you leave the contact information. So here, kind of how the process works, and I just want to give this insight. So if you write a nice comment that's gets forwarded to NSA Naples, right, which is, I don't know what percentage, but most of them I think do. If you write it towards the hospital, towards NCTS, towards PSD or FLC, it's not an NSA ICE comment. Those go to other organizations. But again, housing, residential services, MWR, public works, those things, we'll see all those. So I see every single one of them. The XO sees every single one of them. The CMC sees every single one of them. Sometimes people are surprised when I'll jump in there and respond, or the XO will jump in directly and respond, how fast that system can work. But our goal is to get 100% response for ICE comments that have contact information provided. Normally the response is going to come directly from either the department head or the division lead that's directly responsible for the thing that's identified in the ICE. So somebody like Rick Sizemore answers a lot of ICE comments, and Tony Smith or Dominic Rod. So these people that are operating in these areas of expertise, they're normally going to be the ones that answer the comment back. And then they'll they'll let the XO, and there's a method through ICE where they put in that comment in the system, and it stays. The answer stays in the system, and then the XO and I will know what the response was. It's not very good at tracking how many get responded to of the ones that have contact information, but we try and do that manually. So we aim to 100%. I don't know that we get 100%, but what I'll say out there is if you leave your contact information and you don't get a response within a couple of days, right? Yeah, maybe give it 3 days, especially if there's some information we're tracking down. Then write another ICE comment, make a phone call, use your chain of command, and demand that response from us, because that's what our obligation is. We want to respond to these ICE comments. It's important to establish a two-way communication. One of the other things the XO addressed was if you don't know where to attribute your ICE comment to in those categories that are provided, just pick the one that kind of seems the closest to you, describe the problem, and we're going to sort out where it should go and get it to the right place. So don't sweat that too much. If you've got a comment that's in there, write the comment. I want you to do that. Pick the category that most closely gets to where you want to go. But we do this all the time. If someone writes a comment towards public works that really belongs to housing, then we're going to get it to housing, and vice versa, and those types of things. We do that all the time. So don't sweat that. Just get the comment out there because we'll take action on it.
And if I can just throw in, we're a pretty tight command. I feel like every week we have a department head meeting, and all those folks are around the table every Tuesday morning. So if it went to housing and it should have been a public works comment, then we'll notify the right people, just like you said. So we talk daily with our staff. So.